So I have seen quite a few videos talking about products that are not worth the hype surrounding them, overhyped products. But today I wanted to kind of do a little bit of a different version of that. I wanted to talk about products that are actually as good as the hype surrounding them. It can be difficult, right? Social media, there are a lot of opinions, there are hype trains everywhere surrounding a lot of different products, but I went through my collection and I gathered the ones that I just go back to over and over and over again, and there has in the past, or still currently is, quite a lot of hype around these products. Not wasting any time, let's talk about the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I don't know when it started that people were going crazy about this product. I have been a fan of this, I think, since 2016, and it has been a standby since I started my YouTube channel. Everyone has their own opinion about primers. I personally am a primer person. But not all are created equal, and I firmly believe that. I think that there are plenty of brands out there that just repackage a light moisturizer and then sell it for twice as much money as it normally would be. Bobbi Brown did something different when they came out with this face base. It's a thicker cream. It really does an amazing job at smoothing out the skin and giving your skin one even buttery texture. And that's one thing I'm super picky about with makeup is texture, how a product is laying on the skin. At the end of the day, I think I've always been like that. If my makeup just wasn't quite right, it was probably because my skin just looked a little bit textured, or the texture of my lashes were too thick. It was always about texture for me. And since I discovered this, just no primer has been able to give me the same effect that this one does. There really isn't a dupe that I've found out there. So this gives your skin that really smooth and even canvas, but it's not a silicone-based product. This is truly like a more thick moisturizer. So it's also incredibly hydrating. It keeps the skin supple and smooth, especially excellent if you have normal to dry skin, because I find that this does a really good job at prolonging the wear of my makeup. Typically, makeup will start to look a little bit dry on my more dry areas like my forehead, and I always find that this does a good job at making sure that the makeup isn't settling into any fine lines or just looking crackly. I feel very grateful that Bobbi Brown now has a trial size of this, because I've recommended it to so many people, but no one wants to take the plunge and buy the full size. So I'm glad that they finally did the trial size. And also, I mean, one of these tubs will last you an entire year, or it has in the past for me. Anyway, so like 4-year relationship with this one. I really like it. Next we have another kind of oldie, another classic, one that was getting a ton of hype. I still think does have some hype around it, but I don't see as many people talking about it. And just to revisit, I still think that the IT Cosmetics CC Cream is bonkers good. I love it. There have been a lot of copycats of it. I mean, every single brand came out with the CC cream after they saw the way that this one exploded. But there is something that is still very different about this one to me. One, I'm really glad that they expanded the shade range, because it was kind of abysmal before. But this was the first BB cream, CC cream product that actually gave significant coverage. This is always a solid medium coverage on my skin. And I have to tell you, if there is one makeup product that I am applying when my skin is severely dry, like especially if I have a cold and I'm getting a lot of that dryness around my nose, this is the only product that I will feel comfortable wearing on my skin, especially if I need to look somewhat presentable. This is always the one that I go to. It definitely is more on the dewy side, and I personally like that. I know some people aren't as much of a fan of a more dewy finish. I'm wearing it today and I just feel like it gives you such a radiant look. I never have issues with the way that this wears on my skin. In general, again, if we're talking about texture with the product, if my skin is very dry and textured, this one just gives it light and it makes my skin look whole lot better than it did before, which is the point of makeup, right? Like, have you ever applied a foundation and somehow your skin looks worse? Like the texture and the overall quality of your skin somehow looks worse. Anyway, this is one that I've depended on for a very long time. Many a tube I've bought and gone through, so I had to give this one a shout out. A product that I think is more newly hyped, like in the last couple of years, which is the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer. A lot of brands lean more towards releasing powder bronzers, but I'm really glad that the market's kind of shifting. There are more brands putting out cream bronzers, especially excited for the one from Fenty. I'm definitely gonna review that one. But the Milk Makeup one, for me, really is an OG. It was the cream bronzer that I tried and immediately I was like, I get it. I understand this formula. It always looks good. It looks dewy, fresh. It just always consistently looked good on me. It never looked like she's wearing a lot of bronzer. It ended up really melting into the skin in a way that a lot of cream bronzers have not for me. I mean, I've tried insanely expensive cream bronzers. I actually did an entire week on my channel called 1 Week of Cream Bronzers. I tried out 7 different ones. Point being, I've tried out a lot, and this one still is one of those cream bronzers I always go back to. A lot of people like it. A lot of people like it because it's just so freaking easy and it always looks good. I can't talk about this product without also talking about how good of a deal it is. You get an entire ounce of product in here. Another product that has been very, very hyped up is the Glossier Cloud Paints. There's a point on YouTube that I could not go on without getting a recommended video like trying out $1,000 worth of Glossier makeup. Is it worth the hype? But Glossier really changed the game and they were ahead of the cream product curve, in my opinion. They made cream blush a lot more approachable. I really like this one because I just feel like it's so different than a lot of the cream blushes that have come before it. So one, it's a gel cream formula, and that makes it incredibly easy to work with. It's very easy to blend on the skin. But this one doesn't have a super dewy finish. That's typically something that you get with cream blush. It's typically a little bit more of a creamy, dewy finish. But this one to me is more skin-like. It's not completely matte. I mean, there's no glitter within it, but it's more of a skin-like finish, and it's also quite pigmented. Because of the finish and because of the pigmentation, it ends up being more of a long wear blush. Whenever someone with oily skin reaches out and asks me about what cream blush I recommend for someone with oily skin and they want, you know, pigment and pop, but it's not going to fade throughout the day, I always recommend the Glossier Cloud Paints. You can also mix shades if you have multiple colors. I do that all the time. The Cloud Paints for me, I think are completely warranted of all the hype they get. I actually did an entire video about sparkly top coats. I talked about like the best and the worst, my favorites. One that has continued to stand out and one that I keep using is the Hourglass Scattered Light Glitter Eyeshadow. When these released, there was a ton of hype around them. I honestly didn't really get it. Glitter eyeshadow to me, hearing that just wasn't appealing, but there's just something so special about this. When a brand can do glitter in a way that's really sophisticated, doesn't exaggerate any texture on the lids, like unwanted texture, and the colors are really chic. I mean, I think Hourglass did an amazing job. One that I love the most is the shade Smoke. It's what is on my eyes today. An instant like one shadow look. You apply it, it looks like you have some sheen to your lids. It definitely looks like you tried harder than you actually did. The formula is actually still quite lightweight for the payoff that you get, so you don't feel like you're applying a really clumpy or chunky eyeshadow to the lid. The formula itself is very smooth. It gives the lids a very wet look. Exactly what I would have expected from Hourglass. These are amazing luxury glitter eyeshadows, and I think they're worth the hype. Maybe now we're talking about the most hyped up product in this video, the Fenty Gloss Bombs. To me, there just really isn't another formula out there like it. Fenty came out with a lip gloss right when lip glosses started trending, and I think these lip glosses are a part of that. They really became like the front runner, and to me for good reason, because I think that the formulas are super, super unique. I've been wearing the clear shade a lot, and I also love Hot Chocolate. This one's like one of my absolute favorites. But I had to talk about Fenty Glow, the original, because I think that this one just has a magic to it that is kind of difficult to explain. The shade is a really perfect bronzy pink. It ends up complementing everyone that wears it. Also, the sheen of the product makes your lips look a lot bigger and it's very flattering. Really fills in the lip lines. I hate when I wear a lip gloss and I can see every single lip line that I have. If you haven't tried it, and I think most people have at this point, never sticky, very balmy, and really easy as just an everyday lip product. And because the pigmentation, and that's another thing I forgot to mention, the pigmentation on here is so perfect. I hate when lip glosses are way too pigmented because I feel like you can see where the pigment of the lip gloss ends and where the lip color begins, like your natural lip color. And it ends up just making for a really weird and unnatural look on the lips, at least in my opinion. When I'm wearing it, it tends to look a little bit weird. But these just have that perfect amount of pigmentation. All of that combined, it's just a perfect storm for a very, very good product. Definitely what I think is deserving of the hype. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. Do you think any of these are also deserving of the hype? Not deserving of the hype? I don't know. Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one.